Andrew Mason put out a poll question. And, he was somebody who was out at all the OTAs and minicamp. And so he asked a question. After hearing about OTAs and minicamp, how many games do you think the Broncos will win this season? 42% of the almost 1,400 or over 1,400 people who voted, 42% said 7 or 8. 26% said 6 or fewer. 25% said 9 or 10. And 6% said 11 or more. So that's crazy talk. But
right. That's silly talk.
Where would you place the Broncos?
I think I took them when we did our whole little, go through the schedule that I fought tooth and nail against, but we went through it. I think I had them at 7 or 8. I think that's where I would sit, 7 or 8.
Whoa. I hear words that trigger me.
Wait a minute. I thought you were willing to go to 9, if I remember correctly. I think I remember you willing to go to 9.
Okay, 7 to 9.
7 to 9?
Yeah,
that's too big of a window. You got to be pinned down. So you think this is an 8 or 9 win team? Basically the same as last year. I think
it's more of a 7 or 8 win team.
So not as good as last year. You see a fall off from last year.
Record wise, yes, I do see.
But you think it'll look better?
I do think it'll look. I just think that there's going to be a fit offensive. Like, I think what you're going to find is an offensive identity, what you are as an offense. And ultimately, that can only be a good thing for the Broncos. And I think it's something they have struggled. I think there's an honesty. We're never going to get the honesty. It's not how professional teams work, right? I mean, whether it's the Nuggets or the Avs or anybody else, they're just not. You're never going to get honesty, complete on. Like, this Gabe Landeskog thing has been a farce since day one.
How so?
I mean, like, hey, well, he's skating. There's a chance. Like, there's no chance. I told you there was no chance. Like, that's not going to happen. He's skating around cones now. Ooh.
You think they were irresponsible in letting on Avs fans?
No, I mean, I think they're doing it from, it's hopeful, and and I understand that part. I listen. I don't expect complete and total transparency for my teams because I know that's a disadvantage. You can't come out and say, "Hey, we're really going to work on some things this year," and you're not going to get to see the stuff that we see, but it's going to be better. Although our record is going to be 5, and you can't come out and say stuff like that. So it's going to be one of those situations where, they'll have an identity and they'll work toward that. And toward the middle or end of season, we're going to see a team that you're going, wow, they're going to really start to be better.
So I'm okay with going along with the eye test, right? That the eye test can tell you things. And that the eye test doesn't have to necessarily match the record. Okay?
Okay.
Like Russell Wilson, I thought was a classic example of this last year. The numbers told you one thing. The eye test told you something else.
Correct.
Okay?
Totally correct.
But in this case...
That's why it drives you crazy when national analysts go on there and say, wow, Sean Payton really got to put Russ in a better position. And you're like, dude, if you really... You don't watch the games. You watch... I get it. You can't watch everything. So you're watching a few highlights. You're watching some big-time throws, and you're saying, well, why don't they get in that all the time? Or why don't they do that all? Well, you can't. So go ahead. Continue on.
Well, first of all, I got to get this taken care of.
Yep. So I promise to you, people.
Russell Wilson smear campaign rolls on. That'd be day number 98. We're going to go over 100 this week.
Yeah. Is it petty?
Sure.
Is it,
sure.
Yeah, is it petty?
Sure.
Is it immature? Absolutely.
Have you been listening to this show over the years?
Right. But it is our commitment to you that we will smear Russell every day.
Every day.
Every single day.
Every single day because you know what?
Sometimes twice a day.
He has earned it.
He has earned it.
He has earned it.
Until we can get over our pettiness because we have found a franchise quarterback.
Correct.
We will continue to smear him.
Exactly.
Every single day.
Because being petty is all we really have at our disposal right now.
Right. Well, yeah. What else can we do?
Right.
Nothing.
Otherwise, we cry. So this way, we just act petty instead. So
I wish I knew how to quit you.
At some point, though, like I'm okay with signing up for the eye test, right?
Okay.
But at some point, and I know you don't like stats, but at some point, whether it's Bo Nix's stats or the team's win total, isn't there kind of a baseline that has to go along with the eye test? Like, we can come out of this season, the eye test will tell us Sean found the right guy in Bo Nix.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of stats or win total has to go along with that eye test? Because you can't pass the eye test without having a certain level of numbers, right?
Yeah, I would think that.
So if he starts 17 games this year, Bo Nix.
See, now you're going to try to pin me down on.
And he passes the eye test when it's all said and done. Okay, what's the win total to go along with that then?
See how you do this? I don't like how you do this.
This is how we go full Ferguson.
This is how we get ourselves in trouble.
Exactly.
And this is how 4 years from now.
4? How long ago was Simeon?
Yeah, I mean, 10 years from now.
10 years, yeah.
Remember when you said
Trevor Simeon should have been signed to an 8-year, $57 million. The most rando number, by the way, too.
By the way, do you remember we got this like letter, and it had day and time certain hosts said certain things recorded by a fan. Do you remember that letter?
Yes, I do remember.
It was like on 5/18.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
Mike Evans said,
right.
Da-da-da-da.
Yep. It was like, it went back like 8 years.
Yeah. And this guy had a notebook where he charted
all the receipts.
Every receipt. Remember, Mark, when you said Simeon was our guy after we started 4-0 and we should pay him, and he had the whole litany of years and money and.
All right, so give me a number. I know, nice try. Thought you could deceive. You could distract me. Nope, laser focus.
A number of what?
What?
Oh, okay.
In order to pass the eye test, Bo Nix has to win fill in the blank games.
I can't tell you what he has to win games. I mean,
what's the rec? Come on, just
to pass the eye test.
I'm not going to come back and hold you to this. I would never do that. But just give me.
Okay, yeah. Now I'm really going to irritate you. This is going to be awesome. He's got to in his rookie year,
playing, let's say, 17 games.
Okay, playing a full season, they've got to win at least 5.
So you think a 5-12 season with Bo Nix at quarterback, you go 5-12 and he passes the eye test?
He could pass it. He could fail it too, but he could.
Yeah. See, I don't. It's like the same conversation we've been having with Dion in year 2.
Mm-hmm.
What has to be the record in order to feel like he backed up the talk? And for a team that right now the over-under for the Buffs is 5.5, you cannot tell me that even going over, you can't tell me that a 6-6 season, that slogging your way through a 6-6 season, that you're going to feel like, oh yeah, he's backing it up.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Okay, but let me ask you this: Did Dion and the Buffs pass the eye test in year 1, going 3-0 to start and ended up winning 4 games and doing what they did with that program?
For me, yes. Yes.
For me too.
They did.
In year 1.
And
that was only 4 wins. Year 2, I have a much higher standard.
But they were starting with 1.
Right, but
the Broncos were 8-9 last year.
Broncos, with this quarterback, they're 0-0.
Yes.
With this, last year was last year. Every year is different. The point being is that Bo could play an entire season, and they could win 5 games, and you could see a significant, difference in how Bo played versus Russ played, and give you, like, if Russ was starting this season, what would your expectations be based on what you've seen the last 2 years?
This is KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. I believe that they would be better this year with Russ than they will be with Bo. Now, that's not to say, don't freak out, people on the RamosLaw.com text line. I'm not going full Marilat with you. I do not believe that Russell Wilson was or should have been the quarterback of the future here. And there is a very limited amount of space for Russ before he bumps into his ceiling. I think Bo has a much higher ceiling. down the road.
Okay.
But just for this year, yes, I think the Broncos would have had a better record with Russ than they would have Bo.
So you're going into this season. Russ is still here.
Yes.
You've lost Jerry Jeudy. You've lost some of your weapons.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. What is their record with Russ this year?
They're in the 8 to 9 win window.
And you've got them with Bo in the 7 to 8 window.
6 to 7.
Okay. So my point would be this. Wouldn't you rather, knowing you're going nowhere ever with Russ, wouldn't you rather be 6 or 7 wins with a quarterback that you look at like could be or is trending in the direction that you need? Like you,
I answered my own question. If like, what kind of win total do I need to see to go along with the eye test? I think it has to be 7 wins. If Bo Nix plays 17 games, I think they have to win. They have to have at least a record of 7-10 in order to match up the eye test. And there has to be a certain level of numbers that go along with it as well.
Well, I could still see like. So let's say with Russ they would have gone 9 and 8.
Mm-hmm.
You still wouldn't believe that Russ is the guy.
No, not at all.
But you could win 6 games with Bo and go, he's our guy. I think you could feel that.
If he wins, yeah, if they won 7.
So, six is. Do you think this is like?
Do you think this is a bad defense?
This is like right out of Something by Mary. No, not 6-minute abs. 7. 7's the key, man. You can't get your abs done in 6 minutes.
Okay, fine. 6 or 7.
Okay,
6 or 7.
Lord have mercy.
But we started talking about 5, and I don't see how you can go 5 and 12 and feel like he passed the eye test. Do you think this is a bad defense?
No, I don't think. I think that it's. I don't know that it's a bad defense. I think it's a very. I think there's a very fluid. And there's a large unknown potential because of the safety. You're going to have 2 new starting safeties. You're going to have a new starting corner. You're going to have a new starting linebacker. You're going to have some new starting defensive linemen. I mean, this team is completely like it's.
But when you look at
it
when you look at it on paper right now, do you see at least a decent defense?
Well, I mean,
they were a decent defense last year once you got past Miami.
Tell me how Caden Stearns is going to be able to play a whole season, which I don't think he's ever played. Tell me, Brandon Jones from Miami is going to be as good as K-Jax or as good as, Simmons. Tell me that McMillian or whatever his name is, playing nickel, is not a one-hit wonder. Tell me
Cody Barton can replace Josie Jewell.
Yeah, tell me who the corner is. Like, who's going to start at corner?
Well, considering that they had, what's his name, playing corner at the end of the season. Who was the dude?
Yeah.
He was so bad. Aiden O'Connell was licking his chops throwing at him.
Fabian
Moreau. Yeah. You telling me you can't improve upon Fabian Moreau?
Yeah, I think you can.
Okay, then. So if you don't think that this is, on paper, a horrible defense, and if you look at some of the pieces, do you think this is a pretty good offensive line? You were very complimentary of the offensive line last year.
I think it has the potential to be really good, yeah.
Really good. Okay, that means a lot coming from you.